You've seen it, right? The IT team that's just stuck on a hamster wheel. They're buried in tickets, constantly putting out fires, and always struggling to show their value. It is such a frustrating cycle. But what if I told you there's a way to break free? A way to shift from being reactive to being a proactive partner that actually creates business value?
So let's just cut to the chase and ask the big question. Is your IT team a real business partner? Or are you sometimes just a roadblock? Answering that one honestly, that's the first real step toward a major transformation.
And this really lays out the two worlds perfectly. Over here, you've got the firefighting IT department. They're working in silos, projects get bogged down, and everyone sees them as a cost center. But on the other side, you've got a proactive team that's actually aligned with business goals and co-creating value. That is the shift we are aiming for. We're talking about going from problem solvers to growth drivers.
So how in the world do you make that leap? Well, the answer is in the ITIL 4 guiding principles. And I want you to think of them not as rules, but as a compass that's always pointing you away from that reactive trap and towards creating real value.
This definition really hits the nail on the head. A guiding principle isn't some rigid checklist you have to follow. It's a mindset. It's a universal recommendation that helps you make smarter decisions, no matter what kind of crazy new challenges come your way.
Okay, let's dive into the absolute heart of this whole framework. This first group of principles. This is what sets our direction. This is our North Star. And that North Star is, you guessed it, value. The focus on value principle is probably the most important one of all because it forces you to ask one simple question for everything you do. How does this help our customers and our business succeed? If you can't answer that, it's probably just waste.
So what does this look like in the real world? Well, it's an IT department putting in a new ticketing system specifically to cut down resolution time for employees so they can be more productive. Or it's a cloud provider spinning up more resources for a retail client during a huge holiday sale. You see, every action is directly tied to a valuable outcome.
Now, ignoring this leads to what I like to call the misguided principle of don't let the customer bother you. This is where teams just hide behind their computers, buying the shiniest new tech because it's cool, not because it actually solves a real problem for anyone. They completely lose sight of their purpose.
And tied right into value is this next principle. Think and work holistically. Because nothing, and I mean nothing, in IT exists in a vacuum. You have to see the big picture. You have to understand how a small change in one area could have a massive ripple effect on the entire user experience. It's all about breaking down those silos. And believe me, this isn't just some abstract theory. The risk is very real. This statistic is pretty staggering. A full 15% of major service outages happen simply because one team wasn't thinking about how their work connected to others downstream. That's a huge, totally preventable risk.
All right, so we know our destination is value. Now, how do we build the engine that's going to get us there? This next set of principles is all about driving real, effective, and sustainable improvement.
First up, start where you are. This one sounds like common sense, but it is so often ignored. Before you rush to rip and replace some old system, take a breath. Assess what you already have, what's actually working, what can be salvaged or improved. This simple step avoids so much waste and unnecessary disruption. And the financial benefits? They're huge. We're talking about potential cost reductions of up to 22% just by leveraging what you already have instead of starting from scratch. Now that is a number that'll get any manager's attention.
Next up, progress iteratively with feedback. This is basically the antidote to those giant multi-year Big Bang projects that, let's be honest, often fail spectacularly. Instead, you break the work down into small, manageable pieces and you get feedback after every single step to make sure you're still on the right track.
In practice, this could mean releasing a minimum viable product, an MVP, just to get it into users' hands quickly. And then you improve it based on what they actually tell you. Or maybe during a major outage, it's about deploying a quick patch that restores 60% of the service in 15 minutes instead of making everyone wait 3 hours for the perfect 100% fix. It's all about delivering value faster.
Okay, let's talk about optimize and automate. The order of these two words is absolutely critical. You must first improve and streamline a process. Optimize it to make sure it's as efficient as it can possibly be. Only then do you bring in the technology to automate it.
Because if you ignore that order, you fall into one of the most classic IT traps there is, automating a broken process. And all you've really done is figured out how to get bad results faster.
The real goal of automation isn't just to replace people, it's to free up their time and their brain power for the complex, high-value work that technology just can't do.
And that brings us perfectly to our final set of principles, which, honestly, focuses on the most important part of any system, the people. Because you can have the best processes and the coolest check in the world, but they are useless without effective teamwork.
Collaborate and promote visibility. This is all about creating a culture of trust. When teams actually work together across departments, when they share information openly, and when everyone can see what's going on, you build trust, and you just naturally make better, faster decisions.
And just look at the impact of that. When teams share information openly, on average, they can resolve incidents 35% faster. That is a massive direct operational benefit that comes from simply talking to each other and being transparent. And finally, we have keep it simple and practical. Think of this as your ongoing war against needless complexity. Always look for the most straightforward path to get something done. If a step in a process, a meeting, or a report doesn't add real, tangible value, get rid of it.
All right, now for the big payoff. We've looked at all 7 principles individually, but their true power isn't in using them one by one. It's about understanding how they all work together as a complete, interconnected system. It's like the source material says, this isn't a buffet where you just pick your favorite principle and ignore the rest. You have to consider how they all apply together, because they reinforce and depend on each other. It's a whole ecosystem.
And this table just illustrates it brilliantly. For example, when you pair a focus on value with keep it simple, you make sure that streamlining a process never accidentally makes the user's experience worse. Or when you combine start where you are with think holistically, you avoid getting that tunnel vision and you make sure you're looking at the whole system, not just one little piece. See, every single principle makes the others even stronger.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Think back to the last big project or the last major incident your team faced. Looking at these 7 principles, which one did you ignore? Answering that question for yourself, that's the first step to making sure your next big challenge is a massive success. Because by really embracing these principles, you can truly transform your team from a cost center into a strategic partner that drives incredible value for your organization.